It's just generally how you present and how you teach each and every day. So as you have players on your roster, you want them to get better as individuals. That's the first piece of it. They all want to play in the NHL eventually. That's every single one of them on your roster. It's not just like we only have 3 prospects or we have 8 prospects. You never know who they might need in Minnesota at any given time. So everybody needs to keep getting better, from your veterans, from your mid-range pros, to your young prospects, your recent draft picks. They got to keep getting better. So it's part of the teaching process. These are 3 general points. But then that process is an everyday event, whether it's in video instructions, just talking about things. It's nutrition. It's their work in the gym. Their work. What are they doing in the afternoon? What are they doing at night? Are they watching games? How are they conducting their time? Because first-time professionals have a lot of time on their hands. So that's all part of the process. So it's part of the daily activity, and it's a daily activity. It's not, okay, we showed so-and-so video 3 weeks ago, why isn't he getting it? It doesn't work like that. It has to be a part of the process each and every day in their development. So you're working towards them, becoming complete pros, maximizing their strengths, improving their deficiencies. The second piece of that is we're producing them. We want them to be better because eventually we want them all to play in Minnesota. And if Minnesota runs into some issues with injuries, maybe somebody's not playing well enough and they want to change the leaves on the tree, these guys are ready to go in and help the Wild, because ultimately the goal of the organization is the Wild to win the Stanley Cup. So that's just part of the process. If these guys are getting better every day, they're more prepared to play in the National Hockey League. And the final piece of it is it all sort of blends together. If your guys are getting better individually and you're teaching with them a team framework, and they still have to improve as individuals, but it's got to be coordinated within the team aspect, then your team is going to keep getting better. And we all operate under the same thing in the American Hockey League, the dynamic of injuries and call-ups, and we all have thin lineups at times. It's just part of it. The playing field is level, so the goal is to get into the playoffs. We have enough talent, the team is pushing in that direction, is working towards making the playoffs. So when I think all these things sort of blend in together, and then hopefully it allows the Wild to make a tremendous run in the Stanley Cup playoffs and us to make a run in the Calder Cup playoffs. But once you get in, then you focus on your day-to-day approach. You focus one game at a time, and you get ready to play in the playoffs. Because when you look at the American League playoffs, a lot of times teams that win the Calder Cup, their parent team did not make the playoffs, or they lost in the first round, and they get a lot of reinforcements. A lot of the American League teams whose teams make run in the NHL playoffs, it's sometimes harder because they run into guys that are playing with the parent team, they run into injuries, they can be a little bit thinner. So when you look at the track of the last few years of teams that have got to conference finals, teams that have gotten to the finals, teams that have won it, are teams that did not make the playoffs. Their parent teams did not make the playoffs, or maybe they lost in the first round and they got some reinforcements. So, long-winded question. It's a general look at how we want to approach it, but there's obviously a great deal of details that go into the everyday package of developing a player. But that's the process. Develop the player individually, develop them within a team framework, have them ready to play in Minnesota, and when you're doing it right, you should put together a good team here and a team that can have success in the American League.